Hey Corral, just wanted to talk to you about a couple of things in this beast of a piece. One advantage to doing a medley, or disadvantage depending on how you look at it, is that we can kind of tackle each of the pieces individually. So in the same way that when you get a new piece in class, we kind of give it a once over and point out some potential problem areas just to get ourselves oriented. We're going to do the same thing with each of the small sections in this piece. So first of all, let me talk to you a minute about this first section. We're starting with a song at the end of the day. This whole play takes place in the 1800s in France, and this song at the end of the day is sung by a bunch of factory workers who are singing some pretty dismal lyrics about what it is like to be part of the working poor. So if you get into the lyrics and you're like, wow, this is dark, don't worry. Yes, but there will be some hopeful stuff coming. This piece is very interesting because it's got a lot of time signature changes. So if you look at the beginning here, you'll notice that it starts in 4/4 time, which is not too tough. So you get one full measure of rest and then 2 extra beats and you come in. And it's got this little so that's your 4 beats there. And then everybody comes in on these open ahs. We're just singing the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes of a descending major scale. And then you split. Now, the rehearsal tracks that I created for this section happen at 2 different speeds. The one that has the recording of me singing your parts is at the slow speed, and it's because there's a lot of text and notes to fit in a quick tempo. So you'll hear me talking a little bit in the rehearsal track at this point, and then at the top of page 3, we've still got ahs, but we transition into 12/8 time. That's not a time signature we've spent a lot of time in before, so let me just clarify for you. Remember, in time signatures, the top number means how many beats there are in a measure, and the bottom number tells us what kind of note gets 1 beat. So in 12/8 time, we can expect to see 12 eighth notes. Now, it would be a hot mess if we were asking you to count to 12 in every measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sounds a little bit like our shakeout warm-up, doesn't it? Fortunately, 12/8 time is something that we call compound meter or a compound time signature. And what it means is that we can kind of chunk those smaller beats together into bigger ones. So instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, we're actually going to count 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, which still gives us all 12 beats, but we don't get a mouthful of numbers every time. So there are technically 12/8 notes in every measure, but you will only feel kind of 4 big beats. Ba-da-da, 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 right? Okay, so brace yourself for that. At the top of page 3, in that same place, you'll notice in the music that there are a couple of fermatas. Those are really hard to direct digitally, so for the time being, just follow along in the music if you can. Gentlemen, pay close attention at the bottom of page 3 because you guys have this a couple of times where you suddenly get the melody. So everybody starts in these unison octaves here. Da, 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 da. We all sing the same thing again. And then at the bottom, gents, you get the melody. So make sure that if you're singing tenor or bass, you do bring that out. That happens a couple of times for you. Okay, so we're in 12/8 time here. Let's transition over to page 4. You'll notice that there are a couple more time signature changes. We move into 6/8 for a quick minute and then back into 12/8. Just be aware of that. Then another important thing happens at the very bottom of page 5. So we've just finished singing another winter is coming on fast, ready to kill. We all sing together, one day nearer to dying. See, I told you, grim. One day nearer to dying. Until this moment, we've been operating in a minor key. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But in measure 30, we transition into a major key. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Which the writers do on purpose because suddenly we have new text about another day dawning. So the text becomes quite a bit more hopeful. Just be aware, all of you, that pattern looks really similar to what you've been singing so far. But it's going to transition here into major. The trick there is to really lift the eyebrows on that third note. That's going to put us back into that hopeful space, okay? So just be aware that that happens there. And then one more heads up for you in this section is at the bottom, well, really the whole page 6. Okay, so we're singing. Look at how nice and organized this music looks. Oh, fabulous. Everyone's reading the same text right in the middle. And then we get to this disaster. Just be aware if you're singing soprano, your text is moving to the top line here. You're still following that upper note, so watch out for the rests. Altos, you're reading in the middle on the top. Tenors, you're reading in the middle on the bottom. Basses, you're reading underneath the bass clef, okay? It's going to take a little bit of tricky eye work, so you may want to take a pen or pencil and just, you know, mark in there. Oh, sorry, got something in my eye. You may just want to mark in there where you're supposed to be going so that, pardon me, so that your eyes and voice can follow. So then we finish this big ending, us who have to pay at the end of the day. And that's the end of that section, okay? Sopranos and tenors, you're going to want to use a lot of breath support at the end of this one. Cool? Great, that's 6 minutes more information than any of you thought you needed, but I promise it will be helpful as you rehearse. Make sure that you're rehearsing with that slow tempo first. By the time you submit this for me, you're gonna do it full tempo.